Again, every game this season, I think I've said the same thing. It's not like we thought. At this point in time in the season, 4 games in, this is who this team is. They are not going to make any drastic improvements. I'm convinced of that at this point. And we got our butts kicked again in our home stadium. It's becoming a common thread with this Clemson Tiger team. Yeah, it's there's nothing really good happening for the Clemson Tigers right now as far as it goes on the field. And this team is immensely talented. They're more talented than most of the teams that they're playing at this point, but they're consistently losing to those teams. So when you're putting up the performances that Clemson has so far this season, it doesn't really matter how talented you are. At this point, they just can't get it done. Yeah, Jordan, I guess we'll start there. Starting 1-3 for the first time in Dabo Swinney's tenure. I can't remember how far you have to go back in order to find where Clemson has gone 1-3, but it certainly has not happened in Dabo Swinney's 17 seasons. That's for certain. This is the worst start of any Dabo Swinney football team, and I don't know where we go at this point. I think Clemson is at a point this season where I don't know if there are any answers this year. It certainly does not seem that way. We mentioned it during the live stream on the channel when we were doing the live game watch, the game stream for the second half, that it doesn't appear anybody on that sideline has any answers right now. You can see the frustration starting to boil over with some of the players. You can see it written all over Dabo Swinney's face, the frustration. It's not at all like we thought it was going to be this season. So here we are. It's going to be a long season. Clemson might not make a bowl game at this point in time, and you got to go way back for that to be the case. So, Jordan, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I'll start off with this stat. I mean, Clemson has lost 4 of their last 5 home games. They have lost. They are 3-6 in their last 9 against Power 4 opponents. They have failed to score 30 points in all but one of those games, the ACC championship. They have. I mean, I should have prepared a list before we did it, because the number of stats that in streaks and new milestones in a bad way that this team is achieving is pretty incredible. And again, I knew this game was not going to be a 17-point win for Clemson. You and I both knew that.
Yeah.
But we still ended up looking dumb. We both picked a 3-point Clemson win. We knew it's Syracuse. They're going to, and this team has not played well against anybody all season. No chance this team is blowing somebody out, winning by 3 scores against anybody right now. No. And they validated us, and then they decided to go the extra mile and make us feel even worse about our predictions somehow. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, this is a team that doesn't have any answers. It doesn't look, you look on the field, everybody's confused, from your quarterback, from the head coach, your coordinators, the support staff, the assistant coaches, the entire roster. Like you look at the vibe and it just, everybody's scrambling and waiting for somebody else to come up with a solution. And that's what this team is right now. And they're probably all scrambling, looking for a solution, because they know that themselves individually are not it, or they don't know the solution, because there isn't one. Now, at least not this season. I don't see it. There's no fix for. There's no fix for your quarterback just not being able to see the field. There's no fix for that in one season. I mean, he's a 4th-year player that's getting paid $2.5 million this season, and he's been absolutely awful. And You're paying all this money to this highly touted defensive line that got absolutely used and abused, and especially in the first half of this football game. You're paying all this money to your stud linebackers that are that Wade Woodaz and Sammy Brown and all these guys, and this is the best. And, you feel really good about your corners. It's like none of that is showing up anywhere. I don't see anything that resembles a football team right now that was touted as much as it was in the preseason. And I'm at the point, like, I'm not even like mad. I'm past the point of being mad because Georgia Tech was a debacle on its own, and that kind of Troy was kind of the precursor. Like you were able to excuse LSU to a degree, but like at this point, like it's not even worth like getting upset over or mad over. It's just confusing. It's befuddling. It doesn't make a lot of sense. How we got here, and now the question is what. I really don't care what they do the rest of the season. I'm just going to be honest. Whether they decide to keep Cade or roll with Cade for the rest of the year, whether they decide to go youth movement and play a bunch of backups, I don't care what. It doesn't matter to me. The season is lost at this point. I'm going to watch. I'm going to hope they win. I'm going to root for them. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. But at this point, whatever they do is a wash, because I'm about to tell you what this program needs to realize and what they need to do moving forward when it comes to coaching hires, when it comes to roster construction, most importantly, and when it comes to getting this team prepared on a week-to-week basis. First and foremost, this team needs to stop emphasizing retention. I'm over it. It's a great in theory. You recruit through high school. You get guys that want to be in the program for a long time, and you develop them, and they you cycle up and you have a really good team. That was supposed to be this team. That was supposed to be this team, and you're seeing how that's worked out. This program needs to cut dead weight. I'm sorry. I hate talking about it like that because that's not the college football we grew up on. But this is the reality of what the best programs are doing. They are letting players walk that aren't worth paying. And this program is too scared to do that. And I get why. I understand Dabo's morals on that. I understand it leaves an icky feeling in people's mouths. I get that. It should. But that's the reality of what this sport is right now. You have to cut dead weight, and you always need to be looking to upgrade your roster. That is the reality. I'm not saying there's no room for developing guys out of high school. That is 100% not what I'm saying, because the best programs are still doing that too. The Georgias, Alabama used to do that. The Ohio States, the Texases, they are still doing that at an extremely high level. They're getting guys out of high school, but they also know when to let guys walk, and they know when they have a hole in their roster, or when they see somebody available in the transfer portal that they can go, it can make their team better. Yes, they need to be a culture fit. I get all that. I'm not saying you have to sacrifice, what you stand for as a program and all of that. But I'm done with the retention rates and all of that. It's meaningless at this point, because if you're not going to put a product on the field that's going to win football game, and I'm not even like talking national championship level good. I mean, that's not been the standard at Clemson for most of its history. I'm not even saying they need to be like national championship good, but they are 1-3. There are not many points at any point in Clemson's history where 1-3 is the standard or to be expected. And they did not play a murderer's row schedule in these 4 games. Yes, they played some good. LSU is a good team. Georgia Tech is a good team, and I guess Syracuse is. I'm not sure about Syracuse defensively. I mean, I don't think they're that good. I just think the Clemson's offense made them look that good. Like, there's no excuse to be 1-3 in 4 games, and there's no excuse dating back to last season to have lost 4 or 5 home games. That has never been a standard at Clemson. Point blank, period. It's never been a standard to be 3-6 in your last 9 games against Power 4 opponents. Never. So what this program needs to do, like I said, they need to cut dead weight. I'm done. If there's a guy that's sitting on the roster, especially if they've graduated and they're not, and they are not guys that you expect to compete for you or play for you, you got to let them go. You got to say, listen, I'm not saying like you need to force them out, but you need to have a conversation and be like, hey, listen, it might be best if you go somewhere else, where you get an opportunity to play, because I don't see a path to playing time here. You need to be able to have those conversations, and I don't think Clemson is doing that enough. You got to process some guys out, and you have to be thinking about how you can upgrade your roster year to year. Point blank, period. I'm done. I'm over. I'm just over it. The player retention, the amount of money, the revenue sharing, the amount of dollars that you have invested in this program and invested in this roster, you are not even getting 1/10 of the return on investment. And I hate talking about this sport like that, like it's a business, but that's what it is now. These kids are getting paid, and they're getting paid a lot of money. Clemson invested a lot of money into this roster because they knew what this season meant. The donors, the fans, the infrastructure, the administration at the university, they all poured everything into this football team. And you're 1-3. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a lot of great points, Jordan. And, we kind of talked about it a little bit during the live stream of the game. And there need to be a lot of changes for this program because what you're doing is not working. And I think a lot, if not all, Clemson fans heading into the 2025 season was willing to back Dabo in the way that he likes to conduct himself in college football. And all the off-field stats that he likes to point out and tout. And I think a lot of Clemson fans enjoy those stats, and we like those stats. But at the same time, the name of the game and the reason that you are so handsomely compensated is for results on the field. Yes, we want our players to have opportunities that they don't get at other programs. Yes, we want them to have Paul Journey and micro internships and all these things that are going to make them successful men once they're done playing football. Yes, all of those things are true. And I think every Clemson fan, if not most Clemson fans, agree with all of those things still. But we are at a point in time in college football where you can no longer compete the same way that you used to. And it is very clear with this team. There is so much talent on this roster right now. You can go down the list of guys that will be drafted this year. Make no mistake about it. They will still be drafted. Regardless of how bad Clemson is this year, there will be a large group of guys that will be drafted into the NFL after this season. Clemson's got to start going about things a different way. It's the only way to be competitive. And I'm not saying you got to lose your whole way and completely, do things the complete opposite way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to go become Florida State, where they're living and dying by the transfer portal every single year. But you got to live a lot more heavily in it than you do now. And you got to hold not only players accountable to how they play. Because let's remember, okay, College football players are no longer the college football players of old. These guys are being paid, and they are being paid a lot of money. And unfortunately for these young kids that are getting paid a lot of money, there comes a lot more criticism. There comes a lot more expectation when you're getting paid versus when you're just a scholarship athlete and you're getting a free education. The criticism is very different. You can't have it both ways. You can't get paid and then still be criticized like you're just a scholarship athlete receiving a free education. The criticism is going to be greater. It's going to be different. This is the new world of college football, right? So this coaching staff has to pivot, and they have to hold people accountable, coaches and players. And if they're not doing their job, then maybe you don't need to be here anymore. And that doesn't feel good. It's not great. It's not what I grew up loving about college football. But unfortunately, the changes have happened. And if Clemson wants to continue to be competitive in major college football, changes have to be made. So I agree with you, Jordan. Some of the college football purists like ourselves that love, I love the older game of college football more than this. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter what you like more. I said it on the stream. What do you dislike more? You dislike the new version of college football where you may have to show some people the door? Or do you dislike losing more? Which one? Because if we continue down this road, we're seeing the results. It's not good. It's unacceptable. And this program feels like it's not sliding down the mountain. It feels like we're in a full-on tumble down the mountain right now. It feels like we're heading 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. We have slid from that great run that we had in the 14 playoff era, right? We're not that program anymore. But we haven't been for the past 4 or 5 years, right? But we've maintained a certain level of competitiveness still since then, right? Mostly winning 10 games a year, sometimes 9, right? But mostly winning 10 games a year since then. It feels like we've fallen way further from that now. So we came down a couple rungs after that great playoff run. And now, we're looking up a steep cliff right now. And major changes have to happen. And the hard conversations are going to have to be made behind closed doors in that program if they want to be competitive in big boy college football right now. If you don't want to be competitive in big boy college football, well, then keep doing what you're doing. And you'll keep putting that product out on the field. That's just kind of where it is. It's unfortunate. But that's the reality. You can't bury your head in sand and pretend like it's not happening around you. It is. And when Syracuse walks in your house and beats the mess out of you in Death Valley, it's unacceptable. You said it in the stream, Jordan. It's a wonder this team didn't get blown out by LSU. The only reason they didn't is LSU's offense not nearly as good as everybody thought it was going to be this year. They've struggled to this point in the season. Otherwise, they probably would have.
Yep.
So, I don't know. As far as this season goes, I don't know what the answers are for this season. It's bad. And the defense probably had they had their worst game of the season. Specifically, that first half was terrible. Syracuse did whatever they wanted in that first half. They cleaned up a little bit in the second half. They gave the offense opportunities. And what happened? Right on cue, the offense can't do nothing with the football. Surprise, surprise. Zero complimentary football out of this Clemson Tiger team this year. And here we sit at 1-3 for the first time in who knows when, and the first time in Dabo Swinney's career as a Clemson head football coach. There are major problems in this organization. There are major problems in this program. And we paid Dabo Swinney a lot of money to figure those things out. And what I say last week on the All In Show, Jordan, when we were talking about Dabo Swinney's comments last week, when he went on his 20-minute tirade, I was like, you think the fans are loud now? Go 1-3 and see how loud it gets. Here we are.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, this is an inflection point for this program, and I don't know what you have to ask all these questions. All right, I've never felt like I had to ask that about a Dabo Swinney football team, but do they check out? I am 100%. This team is on quit watch, like bar none. I could totally see them doing what like 2024 FSU did last season. I don't think they'll go 2-10. I'll say that. I don't think they're that bad. I don't think. I don't know that, but I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to go 2-10. But it's going to be that level of quit. So I mean, I don't care. Like I said, I don't really care what they do the rest of the season, because I mean, anything that I mean, obviously you want to try to win football games because it's not good to recruit coming off of a 5-7 year.
Yeah.
But I'm not really even concerned with like who they play, how they play them, where they play them. Because I don't think the answers are there for this season. There's something deeper than just the roster and the players and the coaches that I think is just not going to see itself get fixed this season.
Yeah.
And I just that's kind of where we are.
I mean, who knows how many losses are coming. And I know I said that last week, but I mean, you mentioned Florida State from a year ago. That could be Clemson this year. It very well could be. And I don't think I ever would have believed that from a Dabo Swinney coach team. But this team, they look like they quit. They look like they're done. They don't want to be there. And I said it last week. At what point do some of these players that know that they're going to the NFL, at what point do they start checking out?
Yep.
I think we may have found our answer.
I think so too. But you know who hasn't checked out? Our new channel members.
Right.
Want to give them a quick shout out. Yeah, we can be Debbie Downers, but I'm gonna flip the switch for a little bit because I do want to show love to two people who joined the channel today. Thank you, Paul E. He joined earlier today, became a YouTube member. Thank you so much for choosing to support the channel on a monthly basis. It helps us more than you know, and we will be pushing out content to you guys for the channel members exclusively. So y'all stay tuned for that. Like the game stream that we just did, that'll be at least typically that'll be a channel member only exclusive content. And also shout out to Adam Watford, who was asking us how to join during the stream, and he went ahead and pulled the trigger. We appreciate that, man. It's awesome. You're definitely trying to continue to build the community that we have here. We have a loyal group of listeners. And now, I mean, we've got 200 people in here now. So, I'm sure a lot of you are new or aren't subscribed to the channel. If you like what me and TPC do here, we do go live for the All In Show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So if you are just a college football fan, you want to hear the Clemson fan perspective, you want to see us crash out and get mad and upset. We don't typically get mad or upset, but we might be reaching our breaking point here. Then feel free to subscribe, consider subscribing, and hit the like button for us on this stream as well, because it does help the channel a ton. And my Clemson fans, consider joining the channel member like Paulie and Adam Watford went ahead and did. Thank you guys so much for your contributions. All right.
Yeah, guys. Big thanks. Appreciate you.
All right. Pivoting back to Debbie Downer. I guess, we haven't gotten a chance to hear the Dabo presser. I'm sure it's still, it's probably ongoing now, or don't even want to check my phone at this point. I'm scared to open Twitter, just knowing what I'll see. I mean, I'm probably at the point where I'm going to mute the words Clemson and Dabo for a little bit. I really am not sure if I'm prepared to hear it, but I know I need to listen to it because I just, I can only imagine what his psyche is right now. I mean, you saw him at the end of the game.
Yeah.
On the field, obviously they were gathering at the Paul. I mean, the look on his face. I mean, the emotions and the thoughts that were swirling in his head. I can't even imagine.
I think, like, being completely honest, I think he's had a loss.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's part of him that has no clue. Like, he does not understand why this team is performing this way. I think he's at a loss. I think he's probably very angry. He knows what's coming from the media. He knows what's coming from the fans. Those thoughts are probably in his head in that moment. I mean, a lot. But we've had two games. We've had two home games in Death Valley look terrible. And there's weather and lightning delays, and the fans, the stadium looks barren, and it's been one hit after another this year, and I don't know. There's no real turning it around at this point. You've kind of dug yourself into a hole where there's not a whole lot left for you. This season, you're not going to the ACC championship game. Even if Clemson was to turn it around right now and all of a sudden start playing like the Clemson we thought they would be coming into the season, you got nothing left really this year. And that's going to be very difficult to manage that locker room and motivate that locker room and get them to a place where there are people not quitting, there are people still competing. That's going to be a tough task. That's going to be a tall order for that coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to. You got to keep playing. You can't quit 4 weeks into the season. Unfortunately for Clemson, they can't just cancel the rest of the season. They got to continue playing football games and probably losing football games. But it looked like some players quit on the field. Let's be honest. Let's just keep it 100. It looked like there was a whole bunch of we don't know what the hell to do on the sideline from coaches. So
no answers, man. And to add insult to injury, I just watched Hollywood Smothers run for 51 yards for a touchdown. I mean, NC State is making offense look easier than you do.
Yeah.
Isn't their offensive coordinator? Their offensive coordinator is Kurt Roper, I think. And those of you that don't know that name or aren't familiar, I mean, Kurt Roper. I remember when he was the offensive coordinator at South Carolina.
Yeah.
He was one of the and they ran him out of. They hated him so they wanted him gone. Why is every single team that I turn on the tape and turn on the TV, they make offense look easy.
Nothing looks easy at Clemson. Nothing looks easy.
Other than giving the football to Adam Randall, there was nothing they did well that they got consistently. You threw 60 passes. How many? What was the exact total? He was right at He was right at hit about the 60-yard mark, 60 attempts mark.
He was. Hold on. $61. 37 for 61 for 363 yards.
60.
Put up 503 yards of total offense. Had 22 rushes for 140 yards. Ran the ball efficiently today. 6.4 yards a carry. Thanks to Adam Randall.
But we're better off.
Adam Randall had 16 carries for 130 yards.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I mean, like when is the last time a Clemson quarterback has thrown that far, that many points? You see, I'm ready to fall asleep and pretend this never happened. When is the last time a Clemson quarterback has thrown this many times? I mean, actually, Cade threw like 50 passes against Tennessee in his first start, which we rightfully so railed Brandon Streeter for.
Yeah.
But Brandon Streeter's offenses look better than this, especially in 2022. Well, I'm saying he was only offensive coordinator for 1 year. His 1 year as offensive coordinator with DJ Uyunglele as his quarterback was much more consistent and much more effective moving the football than this one is.
And you didn't have great wide receiver play that year either.
No, it was Antonio Williams and a bunch of Jags.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
I'm at, it's just, yeah, Adam mentions Deshaun against Pitt. Yeah, Deshaun threw the ball like 70 times in that game. Literally like 70 times. I think he threw right at 70 passes. I think he was like 50. I think about that stat line all the time. I think he was like 52 of 70, and he set the Clemson record for passing yards in a game. Of course, he lost, but yeah, trip down. I would say, man, how good we had it then. Even in an upset home loss to Pitt.
Yeah,
things were much better. Obviously. And obviously, considering how that season ended.
Yeah, we had it so good. But talking about Cade Klubnik, Jordan, I think we need to have the conversation. I see people mention it in the chat. Is it time to make a change at quarterback? Is it time to give somebody another opportunity? I think it's a valid question.
I wouldn't. If Dabo came out tomorrow and said we're starting Chris Bozzina next week, or next
I'd be
game,
okay with it.
I'm not.
I'm not saying that would be the answer, or the offense would magically be any better. It's not what I'm saying at all. But I mean, at what point do you just stop doing the same thing over and over again and hope that something or somebody gives you a spark? I don't know. I'm not saying Chris Bozzina is any better than Cade. I don't know what he is.
Yeah,
to be completely honest.
I really don't. I mean, I don't. If they decide to roll with Cade the entire season, whatever. I mean, it's. I don't care what they do. I'm just because they don't have the answers this season. It seems pretty clear. Hey, throw Bozzina out there and he looks good. Great. Yeah. That definitely that would ease my mind a little bit. I mean, if you feel like, okay, you might actually have you might have a quarterback for next season, but as it stands right now, I don't have confidence that if they make that move, it's going to make much of a difference. Maybe it does. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, listen, we bashed Dabo for not starting Cade earlier in his career when DJ was struggling, and then you saw what Cade looked like in 2023, and you're like, oh, that's why he wasn't playing last season.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I get that he's a $2.5 million quarterback, but that money's already spent. You can't get it back. So I don't really care how much he was paid.
I mean, I guess it depends on how it's structured. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the details for that. Those are never made public, or I don't even have like I couldn't. There's not even somebody I could ask that would give me that information. So I mean,
but my point is like I don't care if it was all paid up front. If there's somebody that could give you a spark behind him, and again, I don't know if that person exists on the roster right now.
Yeah,
but I could care less how much you paid him. Bench him. Right?
I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
Cade is elite. Don't blame him. The fans left.
I was just going to let that comment. I wasn't even going to even mention that. But anyway, I think that like like I said, it doesn't matter to me what they do because you're at a point now. Your season, your goals are pretty much effectively over. I mean, there's no chance.
Every single one of them is over right now,
yeah,
except for 2, right?
Yeah.
There's only 2 goals you could possibly finish the season and accomplish. One is winning the state, beating South Carolina, and then winning your closer, winning the last game of the season, whatever that is.
Shoot, South Carolina might be the last game of the season.
It very well could be. You might accomplish both those goals in once. You find a way to beat them. But those are literally Clemson's only 2 goals left on the table. That's it.
I mean, I see people criticizing the fans. I mean, I don't know how you could sit here and get upset at the fans. They've put a terrible product on the field. I don't understand. Like it was a lightning delay. That I mean, I don't. A good portion, a good amount of people stayed, even when they were down 20 points. And Dabo himself after the Troy game was like, hey, I was with the fans booing them. So I mean, like, being upset at poor performance, I mean that should be expected. And wow, man, 4th and 1, Duke just hits a big play. I mean, everybody makes offense look makes offense look easy. I don't even know who is Chase Top. Is that even? They didn't even get. That's not even the right guy. The 7-yard touchdown reception. That was like 35 yards. I don't know. ESPN's on crack. But between the audio that problems that they had in the middle of the game, I don't know. But anyways, I'm at the point where this season. I'm going to root for them to win every football game. Yeah. I'm going to remove any and all expectations. I'm going to remove any and all hope or expectation that they'll find some magic lineup change or scheme change that all of a sudden they're going to rattle off 8 straight wins and salvage the season. I'm not even. That's not a thought in my mind right now.
It's not
because even when this team was 4-4 2 years ago, they lost to NC State and they were 4-4. Like that team showed a lot more heart and a lot more fight in the games they lost than this one does.